Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. How you talk to me like the first time. I feel joy, I feel pain, I feel the same. When the night is long, I'll be alone.
DJ Sequence.
In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. 'Cause you talk to me like the first two. I feel joy, I feel pain, 'cause it's still the same. When the night is gone, I'll be alone. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. How you talk to me like the first time. I feel joy, I feel pain, 'cause it's still the same. When the night is long, I'll be alone.
Right, bonjour, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everybody doing? It's a fine Saturday afternoon, and we're looking at charts. Ooh, yeah. How's the voice to music ratio, peeps? I haven't been on here for a little while, so things may have changed. If the music's a little bit loud, I can turn it down, but I can't turn my voice up. Life's good, good. Excellent, that's what I want to hear. Audio's okay. That's fine, right, I'll turn down just a tiny bit, just the music, but testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Or is it Beavis and Butthead? Testes, testes, 1, 2, 3. Music a little loud. Right, let's get that down a little bit. Bosh. There we go. So, it's Saturday. We're in a bear market. I mean, spoiler alert. Market's a bit shit, isn't it? Let's be honest. But we'll cover it off on BTC in a bit. Let's jump over to old telemetry by Bongbot and see if there's anything interesting to ape. I'm gonna use their whale moves down here, and we're gonna ape colors because all I see on my timeline, it doesn't look great from a technical perspective, does it? All I see from my timeline is just literally the British flag and a lot of, how do I put it, like, it's borderline hate stuff, I suppose, which is a bit sad for the world we live in, but we're not going to make a stream about that. We're just going to ape a shitcoin. Fuck it, I ain't got anything better to buy. So let's buy a sol of that and see where we're at the end of the stream. Hopefully it's better than the last time. Alright, turn the music down a little bit. a little bit more. So how's everyone feeling? We bullish? We bearish? Are we like the party's over? We're going to infinity just to pull back? What's the sentiment here? How's everyone kind of feeling about the market? Bullish, mate. And yo, Auto. Hola, Carlos. Hola, amigo. I'm going to butcher your language, so I do apologize. Bullish. Pull back to pack bags and send. Send. Sned. Send. Lamau. Sned. You must be doing this on purpose now. You just want to get up the leaderboard ranks of fans. Please give a rough estimate of how much is going to the moon if Trump defuncts. I think this is the big, like, in-play meta at the moment, isn't it? Like, rip Trump, all this kind of stuff. And unironically, I sent someone this chart, and I was like, I can't decide if Trump being super, ill, and potentially dead is bullish or bearish for the market in general. I actually think it's, if I had to bet, I'd say it's bearish in terms of, like, someone with a less aggressive stance on pump the market would not be great for things like Bitcoin, risk on assets, etc. But let's just not think like that. Let's try and think of, okay, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can make a plan off the trade or off the chart in front of me, right? So if we look at this and we go, this has been like consistently printing lower highs, and now we are contracting in a very like low period of volatility with very little momentum to either side. It's obviously downtrending. If you stick an EMA on it, it'll be pointing down ever so slightly, but it's not particularly dramatic, right? So what would I need to kind of give me some kind of confidence that this is breaking that downtrend? It's literally just a little move up to here and maybe a little sign on relative strength, right? A little bit of trumpage on here, and I could get a little bit excited and a little bit horny, right? And just bosh a position in. But I see no real reason other than like the whole Trump's ill thing for this to really come back into play. And to be honest, since I shorted it at 29 or whatever it was up here, I haven't really touched it. Like, obviously I closed my short down here somewhere in like the 8s, 9s, before it then rallied again and went round and round and round again. But it's that classic like bouncing ball of momentum, right? And what tends to happen at the end is hopefully you do something like that, right? Even if it just fucks all the late shorters and then dies and dies again. So I would put this to the top of my kind of like, I'm watching it, it's in play. But really, like, personally, I'm not flat. I've got some positions. I've got like anyone. I've got Bert, obviously, because I spam the fuck out of it on my timeline. I haven't got many other perp positions other than Solana. Well, I say perp, that's actually spot, but whatever. I haven't actually got many like active trading positions at the moment. Because one, I was away for the last week, which has been lovely. And two, the market's been obviously pretty coiled and a little bit bad in terms of like risk on alt, or alt risk, I suppose. Volatility on the last weekend was pretty invigorating. Reminder of old times. Yeah, still bullish. So a lot of people are still bullish. So those people who have responded and said still bullish, what would it take for you to turn bearish? And I'll kind of go through where I'm at the moment. So that's kind of Trump done. We'll kind of mark that as like, I kind of want a long Trump, but I want to see a little bit of strength first, because otherwise I'm just longing like fuck all, right? I'm longing just nothing. There's no reclaims. There's no telling that this is going to do anything interesting. Whereas if this does start coming back into play, I think it'll be pretty quick and pretty violent in terms of move. So very much have it on there, on your radar, would be my tip. Obviously not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. Kindly sponsored by the legends at Bonkbot, aka Telemetry by Bonkbot, which, wow, I'm not my first trade back, and I'm 6% down already. Good God, it's fine. The colours will rise, I'm sure. Summer low volatility, seasonality and full play in it. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my attitude. Like, not to kind of spoil the fun on Bitcoin. Like, this is where I said, right, this is where I'll take profit. So my theory has been that this consolidation here, it's a bit messy, right? But we'll draw it like this anyway. That this consolidation here is really where I didn't want to see price come back into and accept into, which it has literally done. And I should really now close all my Bitcoin spot positions. But to be honest, for personal reasons to do with the time of the month, I don't actually want to do that because it's nearly the end of August, and people who are relatively smart will be able to work out why. So I want to wait a couple of days and see what happens. And if that costs me a bit, so be it. Absolutely fine. It will save me money if I'm smart about things next year. But yes, I will talk less about that boring stuff. So I'm currently holding, and I'm just seeing what's going to happen. You know, for me, like a strong rejection out of here is actually a really major long signal. It's really like break of current downtrend in terms of our daily structure on Bitcoin. It would be, you know, a very positive step to say that we are not accepting back in this previous like value area. And actually, if it's on decent momentum, it would be a good sign of things to come, right? But I get why everyone is shitting the bed, because quite frankly, alts have been piss poor to trade. The vast majority of them, since like the highs back here, are down astronomically. You know, there's a few outperformers, Burt being one of the main ones, and actually a lot of them are just not, you know, like the good ones like Solana are just not down as much as Bitcoin, which obviously is good as a sign of strength, etc. But it's still not great. It's still down if you bought back here. And then lots of like things like Altcoin, which was really in play. You know, we spent the start of 2025 absolutely slamming Altcoin and ripping that. And now it's just dead. Like the alt market is just pure risk off. And I haven't been playing intraday rotations. I will be back to that next week, actually, as my daughter goes back to school, because obviously it's summer holidays, all that kind of stuff. And anyone with kids in the chat will know that during summer holidays, like, you got to entertain them. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have it any other way. It's been absolutely amazing. I honestly had the best summer of my life. But, you know, from a trading perspective, it means that you just don't really get much done. So I'm not in sync with the low time frame rotations. But even looking at this, right, not particularly amazing. Pump Fund, the kind of biggest runner, and I've talked about Pump a few times. It's on my watch list, but I didn't catch the trade, unfortunately. And yeah, there's no like real major clear narrative to me. Like, we had AI before, right? Anything with an AI type feature in it, that was the real kind of focus of the market. It was very, very easy to kind of just pick an AI coin and just hold it for a little bit and watch it run. Now memes are very kind of saturated, like there's just so many launching, etc. It just, like, look at Altcoin and stuff like that, like losing big pivotal levels. And I still have this kind of trade thesis on Altcoin that I want to play it at some point. But like right now, the best I can get from stuff like Altcoin is like this. That there's a bit of a momentum divergence down at the lows, right? So we'd hope that this reclaims, but, you know, hope isn't a strategy. And actually, you know, a reclaim up here and this alert triggers, and then actually we get a nice move. That is kind of what I'm looking for, right? So that's Altcoin done as well. Kind of mark that one off and just say, oh, we've done Altcoin. That's pretty easy. But in terms of general market, like I'm gonna hold for a couple more days and low-key hope that we break out of it and that actually this trade back here works, because this trade is fucking nuts. This was the like what was it, 44-hour trade, back up to 132k. But really structurally it doesn't look great at the moment. You know, there's lots of OG Bitcoin whales waking up, selling billions of Bitcoin supply and swapping it for ETH. And yeah, that's not particularly great for the rest of us who are sat in Bitcoin bags, etc, etc. But yeah, if you're sidelined, then I would say I'm not buying this dip, personally, on like Bitcoin. So let's start things individually. Bitcoin, I would buy the reclaim, the push above, etc. Like, that's where I would be looking to position, personally, because this is like still in a downtrending channel. It's not looking particularly great. and also the timing, the seasonality that was pointed out in the chat earlier in terms of like low volatility summer. It's actually turned out into reasonable volatility. It's just volatility to the downside ultimately, which isn't great. Yeah, so reclaim that 110 and kind of off we go. That's how I'd be looking at getting on board, right? Simple as that. I think the more interesting markets, to be honest with you, are Ethereum. And this was my like doodles from the other day, but we'll just start it again because it's kind of similar. We're currently downtrending. You know, we've got a series of lower highs, bosh, 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 bosh. Like, I don't want to try and catch the bottom of this. Like, if we have a big, nasty wick down here, take some stops, etc., and then start putting in a bullish market structure, i.e. a higher low, on a reasonable time frame, like the 4 hour, then yeah, maybe, and we break that diagonal trend, etc., etc. Like, all of that, I can do that. And obviously before, what I was looking at on Thursday was I was looking for just like a simple level reclaim, which we didn't get. We literally rejected from. And I'm not aggressively shorting. That's purely out of laziness and not wanting to micromanage trades, to be honest, because I had a really good setup on like BCH. We talked about before, like these meme lines, etc. And like if you can reclaim those meme lines, then great. It's a decent long, but because we're retesting the underside of those meme lines on, you know, bearish market structure, i.e. just lower high, lower high, lower high, then that's a potential short trigger. But no, I've not shorted BCH. I've literally just I'm talking I'm talking about what are my triggers for entering rotational longs and rotational shorts. So yeah, for me, ETH next leg, you need to break this. Need to break this diagonal. Need to put some positive market structure in it, and I don't care really if it's, you know, across here, something like that. If we end up doing something simply like this, then great. I can jump in on ETH, but really, like, we're sat. You know, we swept former all-time highs, and we held above all-time highs for all of like 2 minutes. It's really fucking depressing, really looking at it and being like, hey, we waited, literally, former all-time high buyers waited like 4 years to break even, and then momentum just died from the market. Really sad, really sad. But I do think this ends up, you know, I think this closes the year higher, right? I think that we probably get something like this and really cuck people out for a while, and then it just goes and sends again. But I'll jump into some questions in the chat after I finish. Clear my thought process on ETH. Like, ETH BTC is still strong. It's still a much more attractive market than Bitcoin. And the same kind of goes for Sol BTC and Sol ETH as well when it loads. Let's see what's going on. So yeah, Sol BTC. Yeah, Sol BTC hitting this like high time frame pivot line. If you look at it across here, I don't really like these kind of pivots on a altcoin Bitcoin relationship, because it's like trying to predict exactly where the tide will turn. But actually, so far it's worked okay. I do think that the Sol trade isn't done. Sol ETH obviously had a nice little consolidation down at the lows and has ran a little bit, but is now pulling back. This will really be the kind of test as to whether actually we've got a full-on Solana rotation. You know, if it comes back in here, we haven't, and it's just going to carry on being like an ETH market, right? But this is the breakout here. This is the consolidation before hopefully a change of trend. And if we can hold the higher low and start running, that's the Sol ETH trade. Like, that's Sol being number one. And I think Sol looks so much better from a USD perspective, partly because I'm in it. I'm not going to lie, because I've got a position. But also, if you look at this structurally, and you go, let's just do weekly because it's a bit easier. We consolidated in this huge range, like big range now, for quite a while, like for well over a year. You know, we've had some deviations up here, yeah, fine. But this, in terms of like weekly structure, a series of higher lows, it's really nice. I mean, the candle doesn't look particularly great at the moment, but we are starting to kind of accelerate out. And if we can hold it like this, that's going to be great. If we don't hold it, you'll see this little short over here. So this was me saying, like, look, if we cannot break out of like these highs and this former support over here, which was then resistance, resistance, etc., resistance, blah blah blah, then this is going to be a pretty nice short, right? Just literally shorting that down there. If you think the market's over, this is probably one of the better things to jump on board and go, do you know what? It's got such a clean invalidation, and it's very, very easy to go, well, I'm wrong here. And yeah, you take a bit of a haircut, you take a loss. Obviously, you're not going to take a 10% portfolio loss, right? You size properly, so 9%. You know, if your standard position size is 100k, let's kind of make the maths a bit easier and you want to risk 1%. You know, it's more like a 10k position size or whatever. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Solana. I'm still in this from a spot perspective. I've got big bag of Solana because I just thought I'd go hard on something. And now, you know, my stops are kind of break even essentially. So it's a free trade for me now. I'm hoping it breaks out and runs, but we will see. Let's have a look at some questions. So you're asking about BERT. Like, what's the entry on BERT? Like, I always struggle to go, and I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I want you to buy my bags. I'm not gonna lie. I would love each and every one of you to ape your entire net worth into this, and we just 100x it in a day. Like, that would suit me down to the ground. But I'm not going to tell you to blindly execute this, purely because I really struggle buying into these kind of just vertical accumulation channels, right? It's really tough. It's really tough for me to buy this because, you know, it's where am I wrong? Like, we are consistently holding above that 50 RSI pretty much. We have a couple of dips, they get eaten up, bought out, etc. We are seeing a little bit of momentum die off from these highs, like across here, across these highs, etc., across RSI. So you might get a decent entry and you might get a pullback to like 0.6 or something, right? I think that's where I'd be looking for. Like, these highs have to kind of flip from resistance to support, right? Yeah, it's resistance here, and I think we got like, yeah, some kind of like support over here, resistance there, like 0.06-ish. If you get that pullback, that's probably where you bid. And like, for me, I can't really buy here. I mean, structurally and baby pips wise, it's nice, right? From a market structure perspective, it's uptrending, yada yada yada, and you could justify doing something like this, either really tight here or pretty wide, and going, you know what, I think this is going to enter trend acceleration, particularly with like Solana coming in play as well, you know, the other trade theory, and kind of double up on that. And then you get something like this if you're, you know, pretty risk averse in terms of like wide stop. If you want a tight stop, then it's something like that, right? I mean, I tend to go a bit wider, but obviously that's like 17%, which is a bit. I mean, your size is pretty fucking tiny. You know, my bags are BERT. I've held for fucking ages. I want to sell it for like $1 a pop, but we'll see if that happens, right? It's only a fucking 71 million market cap coin at the moment. If it does pick up steam, I'm hoping it runs to a bill, and yeah, obviously market conditions are a bit shit, so yeah, chances of that looking slimmer as the market goes down, but hopefully when we get a risk on period, it'll just run. 2 weekly closes under the 50-week EMA, and I'll accept it's over. Yeah, fair, mate. At least you got a system, right? At least you got a system. That's really good. That's literally more than most. You know, you sort of say, well, this is where I get bullish, bearish, whatever. You go, well, okay, I've got my macro trend scanner. I'm going, oh, price has actually come into that. Well, it's come into that a few times before, still not over, yada yada. So, you know, it's sat in it for a while. It's still bullish from way back here, right? And it will still take a little while for it to actually flip bearish. So obviously these are lagging indicators. They're not leading. They don't tell you what's going to happen. Nothing does. But they will just check your bias for you and go, yeah, you sure you want to be bullish here, mate? Yeah, really good. Back more like yourself. Where did you go? KR Junior Reviews. Didn't Charles questions? Ah, okay, sorry, I probably didn't cover. You're not FOMO and conscious of how Bitcoin looks and seasonality. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully we got that. That's robotics. The Dubai cabal have spoken. Yes. If Altcoin rebrands to Dubai chocolate, might catch a bid. Yeah. We sell some alts here or hold. It really depends. Like, it depends what alts you're holding, right? So, like, if you're asking, like, well, firstly, you should always have a plan, right? And you should always say, well, if this happens, then I'm going to sell it. If Pepe goes to here, I'm selling it. If Pepe goes to here, you know, I'm going to buy more. I don't know. I don't know what your plan might be, but yeah, entering a trade without a plan, it just sends you spiraling. It just sends you spiraling down this kind of chasm of what should I be doing? Should I be buying more? Should I be selling? Should I be doubling down? You know, like this. Like, I didn't have a fucking plan for this, right? I'm gonna be honest, but it's what, $35 down. I'm sure I'll live with that. You know, is my plan to, like, oh shit, you know, let's pretend this was $100,000 and I'm like, fucking whatever, 13k down now. You know, fuck, 13k down in like as many minutes. Jesus, like, we've had a big sell off. Now what am I gonna do? Well, this looks bullish because we had a big sell-off, and yeah, we took these lows, and yeah, it's definitely gonna go up, so I'm gonna buy more. Wait, let's go. Let's bring my average down. Oh shit, now what am I doing? Oh fuck, I'm now like 200 grand in the fucking hole, and like I'm seeing like, oh, it's just not. What's going on? Like, oh, what's the trade history? Like, are people buying? Oh, people are buying. Oh, great. You know, you start like panicking. You go into this big fucking spin off. Like, you just do stupid shit. Like, should I have doubled down there? I don't know. I didn't have a plan. Blah de blah. Like, I for what it's worth, I don't care. Right, this can go to zero. But the point being that when you're in those kind of spirals, it just makes trading that much more difficult. You know, it's hard enough already. Really hard. Yeah, people, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's really easy, fucking jump in, join my pay group. No, it's not like that. It's very, you know, it's a tough fucking profession. That's why so many people fuck it up and fail. And one of the biggest things you can do to help yourself is simply having a plan and going, where am I wrong? Where am I wrong on this trade? And then accepting that you are wrong, because some people don't do that. Some people go, well, I'll just double down or do whatever. And obviously this was just an illustration. I'm just gambling on telemetry just to show you the wonders of telemetry. And hopefully we end up buying, you know, a couple of Sol in a 100 million market cap coin because Elon tweets it or something. But we'll see. Beta bursts so often and FOMO intensifies. Yeah, this is one of the things, is like, when you've seen it over the timeline a million times and you've gone, fuck that. And you go, look, that piece of shit's at zero. And then you go, fuck, that would have been like a 15x from the bottom. You know, it's always the way. And one of the things that I used to do to help me with that kind of FOMO was go, alright, like, let's delete this. Like, delete all this shit, which I'm not going to bother doing, but, like, what am I going to do next time? Like, when a coin breaks out of a big range like this, after huge sell-offs, I'm going to take it a bit more seriously. Especially if it then comes back along and retests that range, and, you know, bounces from it. And then if you've got confluence with some diagonal here, like this was literally that trade entry, right? Like, great, I'll buy some. I'm not going to write it off and be like, oh, it's dead, because the chart tells me it's not. I mean, it might be dead right here, right? It might pull back, like I said, could pull back further. It could fucking go to zero in an instant, right? Most of these charts can. But, I don't know. Like, just learn from it, and just take it to the next one, and just, there's always another trade. Always another trade. There's no hurry to long right now, that's the bottom line. Yeah, I'd agree with you, Luke. Because Stone Cold said so. Oh, mate. You're showing your age now. No, I see ETH futures still more volume than Bitcoin. I just closed majority of my whole longs. It's so bad. That's a good one. I've not used that as a kind of trigger for any form of trading, but I like that people have those kind of different viewpoints and different views of, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, etc. Fucked up not buying 0.03, but I've stuck to not FOMOing. That's good that you didn't FOMO. Highlighted your common weakness of hesitation. Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, if you're hesitating, it might be a sign that you need to size down. So instead of playing with $10,000, play with 5. Instead of doing $5,000, play with 2.5, etc. until you get confident in executing. Happy to let Bert go and look at nobody for me. Yeah, nice. But nobody I did before actually. And the last time I charted nobody, I wonder if I've still got it on there. I think we had to actually get it on something else. I mean, there's fuck all to chart here, right? But I think we charted nobody like down here, and it ran like this, and I sold somewhere in here like a fucking peasant. But yeah, I mean, it's just another sick play from like SC. I bought in here somewhere, and yeah, I think we were charting it there for a breakout, and it did. It literally ran fucking a shit ton. It ran like 7-8x from there, and then obviously straight back down to like essentially entry, and then it's just run up again. But I mean, this is one of my like favorite setups in terms of like former highs, and I'm gonna go lower time frame because it makes a bit more sense to do that. Like the classic, it takes former highs. I'm gonna ignore this wick, but principle's still the same if you use it. It takes the highs and then it chops around a bit and then it runs again. And it's one of my favorite setups in bullish conditions on bullish altcoins, right? Because like former all-time high breaks are just choppy as fuck afterwards. And it's such a common pattern. I don't really know why. I assume it's because people are just profit taking and doing whatever. But it happens all the fucking time. Then as soon as you start getting that momentum back, it just fucking blasts for like another one of these. So, yeah. I don't particularly want to trade nobody because I kind of have my chance with it. But, yeah. It's certainly done well. Didn't mess with it either. Starts violating oscillators and such. Yeah. Any other large soul coins you're looking at? Salary, useless, SPX? Not really. No, I mean, I dumped a lot of my useless because I made enough money on it, to be honest. And I was like, that trade's done. And I've kind of been right. I sold it like up here somewhere. So it's been like down only since, or maybe it was over here. Like here or something. But I did pretty fucking well out of it, considering I bought there, held for a 50% drawdown, and then it just ran up and got turbo cabaled up to $1 billion, or 350 million, whatever. But yeah, I was selling in the threes, so you know, I got a good exit. It could be interesting. Again, the way that we'd look at that is go, where's useless on here? Well, it's down there, so it's not really showing much strength at the moment. Like, do I want to buy the lows and like buy big pivotal levels and all this stuff? Not particularly. But can I get excited about, you know, similar setup of strong downtrend? And then if we show some strength, maybe we deviate first, maybe we do something like this. And then we break it and we get something like this. That's a good entry. That's a good rotational play, especially if there's relative strength, right? So I always kind of encourage people to think of these conditions when we are going down is, if you're in a trade, if you're holding spot, why haven't you sold it? If your plan was to hold it through all this, that's absolutely fine. Then why are you worried? If you're looking at this and going, well, I really want to short, yeah, I don't know. Like for me personally, quite aggressive to short these kind of markets on like very new, very kind of cabal-led coins of, you know, I think this is like the mascot of Bonk Fun, so shorting that takes some big cojones. I'd rather be looking for longs. Like, what's my trigger for a long? It's kind of this, right? So, is it high up on my list? No, but now if I come back to the chart, because I see some relative strength on it, I've got kind of quick fire condition on it and go, yep, this is the trade I'll take. Alcohol from Portugal. Ooh, nice. Ah, you're Mauritian Monster in Paragon, hello. Or Moritime Monster. My bad of pronunciation. Yeah, I love the Algarve in Portugal. I used to go there all the time. All the time. Nobody but fart was looking at getting off. Charlie Pheasant. No, peasant. I know Essen kills it every time. I know he has Mindshare as his next one. Yeah, he does. Yeah, so it's fucking like goated at these memes. Yeah, so he's just Chad. How would you trigger nobody if you're looking to get in? To be honest, I find it like tough to buy or sorry, to trade something like nobody right now. What I used to do, where's the fucking thing? So like on a perp basis, you'd be just be looking at the same kind of shit, right? Break it down, trends, relative strength, blah de blah. On a like spot basis, I'd probably just be aping in here and having like a really wide stop and just being like, well, probably my stop down here or something like stupid, and just managing it with like reasonably small position size, and then adding if we start getting some strength, right? Because what we're looking at is essentially this structure, yeah, continuing. That's what we want to see. So as soon as we start getting down here, and we're slowing down in terms of momentum to the downside, right? We're getting that 50 retest. We're starting to slow down in terms of actually, you know, we're not really dropping off in terms of price massively. So I'd start scaling in a little bit here, and then I'd be adding as soon as we get like a diagonal break and we go. And then wherever we break, whether it's down here or whatever, that becomes my invalidation for my ads. So it's kind of like a bit of a tough answer, because I'd want to play this on spot. I wouldn't want to play this on perps. Live midday on a Saturday, what's going on? Well, I just thought I'd do it a little bit differently because I've been away for a week, so I didn't get to do it on Tuesday. I obviously did my stream in the Paragon, but it's like, it's difficult to be particularly insightful when you're not active, engaged, and trading the market. Like in a week, I've spent most of my time on the beach, drinking ciders, drinking lager, and I've hit a new personal best, everybody. We're at a new all-time high again. We're fucking just all-time high after all-time high. Bam, bam, bam. I'm the fattest I've ever fucking been. Nah, I'm not fat. I'm reasonably lean, but I do have tits, so it's not ideal. Not ideal. Gonna take my daughter and me to get our first training bras. But yeah. Hopefully, if we do go into a bear market and we get ramen noodles, that will offset the weight gain. Like the video, your mum's gay. I mean, I'm just reading what was said in the chat. That's not me advocating the homosexuality of your mother. Clearly, your mothers were never... Well, they could have been homosexual. Closet homosexual, I suppose, but they've obviously had you, so... Dream that meme line on the timeline too? Yeah. I think there's just no rush to get into positions, as someone beautifully put it. I think that if there are changes in market structure, that's when we start getting excited. If there are... Oh, that was perfect, wasn't it? Look at that. Boop. And then look at that. Yeah, that was a rotational trade that I took and closed at pretty much break even because I'm a retard. And just round tripped the entire thing. But there's a lot of coins that are like looking okay from a higher time frame perspective. I think the biggest thing I think about this cycle that's different to the others is that what we had before in most cycles was, you know, okay, there's a bit of hope, things start going up, bit more, okay, fuck me, this is getting exciting, alright, oh boom, everyone's like, fucked, it's the end of the bull market, yada yada yada, you know, first bear trap type thing. And then we run it up, and then we do the same again, and then we do the same again, and then we really go, fuck me, this is the best thing since sliced bread. And then we go like this and everything just fucking unwinds and we return to whatever that mean of the market was, right? This market has been much more like S&P, just fucking slow up and down. We're in a bull market, it's going up. But really, there's been a couple of short periods where we've had it like this. And I think I drew this out the other day. So not to sort of do it again. This one, this one, this one. These periods are really where we have like the big bull market, yeah? And we get bull market vibes, but for the rest of the fucking time, it's boring as shit. And I think a lot of people try and like bait everyone else in and say, oh my god, like this is, you know, this is it, yada yada yada. But like, look at those periods, like here. You're playing this game like for windows of weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's not huge amounts of time that we've been like turbo crazy. We've been pretty dull sideways or down for much longer in the past few years than we have been like aggressively and super bullish, yeah? So that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not rushing into positions because I don't necessarily think the bottom is in. I don't necessarily think it's a great time to go turbo risk on. But equally, I could be wrong on that. And if I'm wrong on that, I want to take some decent, educated trades like Solana. Yeah? I want to have some sort of meme coin exposure, like Bert. I want to have some spot Bitcoin, because I actually think Bitcoin's in much more of a slower, grind up kind of cycle than ever before. Get my main Fed for stacks looking like a Calvin Klein model by then. Legendary. You're too rich to have gyno tits. What are you on about, mate? I mean, sitting here playing computer games, trading shitcoins, doesn't keep you particularly fit. September usually has a decent dip for November bull run. Yeah, maybe. I mean, last year, like, September, sorry, was pretty bullish. Like, let's go through it. Like, if we go September, like, September last year was bullish. September the year before, fuck all. As a market, right? I'm looking at it as a market. Boring as anything. September the year before, pretty down. September the year before, end of bull market, pretty much. Pretty brutal sell-off. You know, seasonality, boring. I don't know, like, there's not like a major trend sticking out of its slowdown trend, but not really much. The end of September, I guess, where we had, I think that was, I don't know, was that China something? I can't remember that far back, holy shit. Up for the month, I guess. But still. Yeah. Not particularly anything majorly insightful. Not for me, anyway. I think the big thing that I'd look at from this chart is essentially like we can't seem to break 1.14 trillion. And this is that classic like bullshit cup and handle pattern, you know. Do something like that, but really it's a bit meh. Are you a full-time trader or have a day job? I'm not really full-time anymore. Get some training, get in the gym. Yeah, I'm much more high time frame. Like, I'm trying not to jump into 1 minute spaghetti rotations anymore. But I think we will get conditions where that comes back into play. Yes. Oh my god, we're nearly break even. Yes. Well, that comes back into play, but you learn a lot by watching this on a daily basis. I'll tell you that much. So I love you, Charlie. I'm more medium time frame or high time frame. I think my Paragon ends in November. That telemetry chart looks good, mate. I may chart mine show on there. Yeah, you should do, mate. Yes, look at that. We're in profit. 9 to 5? Really? Not when you're making gains like this all day long, boys and girls and theys and thems. But you know, we are at the top of this. There is a div across here which just tells you that momentum is shite, but we know that anyway from this, right? I think that's probably the salient point of the stream is I actually really want to go a little bit more on chain, a little bit more low caps, and a little bit more like I want to buy a bag. I want to buy a sub 10 mil market cap I'm reasonably excited about. Just leave it for a fucking year. Either hits 100 million or it goes to zero, and I've either lost money or made a fuck ton. That's kind of where I want to go back to. Because like I refuse to believe that there's nothing interesting going on in the wider world of crypto, whereas you know most altcoins, even stuff like Pengu, which was great to trade a few weeks ago, you know, it's just kind of in that consolidation, that like downward consolidation phase. It's not particularly great, and you know, market structure as I kind of had on was just lower highs and lower lows. It's not particularly appealing. Yeah, there's a bit of a momentum div across these lows, but too early to get excited by a lot of these charts, to be honest. Too late to short, too early to long. Everyone said the summer seasonality would be bearish too, and we ripped for the most part. Yeah, exactly. I think it's just bullshit. You know, you can't ever predict that, like, oh, Trump's going to be ill, or oh, this is going to happen, or oh, whatever. You know, I just think that, in general, what the fuck is this? You know, up and to the right, boys. Just, as long as global money supply just keeps going up, as long as we just keep printing money out of thin air, asset prices will inflate over time. Maybe not on an intraday basis, but whatever. You know, when we start looking at like SPX, are we gonna fade this? Are we? Yeah. Looking to just spread some 2.5k bets on some of them. We'll go bigger. Yeah. Did one in December, closing out, but buying back got you. Yeah, it's what it is. What do you think about Velodrome? Aerodrome has had a great run from the lows. They're pretty correlated with much the same team. Don't know, but I know Aerodrome because my friend Strong went pretty hard on it. Is it this? It looks dead as fuck, mate. This is my problem with charts that look like this. There's no real reason to buy. There's no strength. There's no sign that it's coming back. Like, you're buying, like, the hope that it comes back, right? Which is absolutely fine. Like, I'm not trying to slag off your investments or anything like that. I'm just trying to say that, like, for me, I need to start seeing that actually there's some momentum. I would much rather have my capital tied up in something that's broken out of this. Easiest chart for investors, though? Yeah, exactly. Like, if you want to invest in something like this and just hold it for a fucking long time and just go, why is this so massively underpriced? It's got Dave as the CEO, it's got Billy as the CMO, and it's got these connections with Apple and Facebook and Google, and they're going to put it on the Sphere or something. I don't know. Whatever your theory is, then yeah, it's great. You just buy and then you just hold for a couple of years. monthly investments to S&P next to trading and trenching. So if you ever blow, you got your S&P 500. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild, the S&P chart. I actually yeeted a bunch of my SIP into the S&P when Trump said to buy. Just like down here somewhere. So taking advice from the financial advice from the President of the United States of America. That was my holiday in the Wall of Corn. It was amazing. Thanks, mate. It's amazing. So good. Just nice to get away. Just spend some time by the sea, spend some time with the family, you know. Really, really nice. Then we come back to markets feeling refreshed, feeling good, feeling ready to pump out the content in Paragon. I need to just revamp my entire content wave, to be honest. Like, I just need to just rebuild it all and just update it all. Like, there's lots of good stuff in there, but it's just a bit tired, I think. You know, I probably recorded some of the videos 2 or 3 years ago, and they could do with an update. And just in general terms, you know, a little bit more content. So I'm going to be working on that. If the market stays this dull, if it doesn't, then we'll just switch it and pivot over to, you know, intraday trading these alts. But for now, we will focus on content creation. Bought Matic for 800, sold for 25k. Could have been 100k, but don't care. Yeah, man. I mean, this is thingy, like the wall of regrets. There's so many coins I could say, oh, fucking, if I'd have done this, yada yada. If I'd have just held my SHIB, I could have sold it. You know, you're probably never going to sell the Pico top, and you're always going to underperform how easy things are with, or sorry, you're always going to understate how easy things are with hindsight. Any thoughts on Arweave? Nah, not really, mate. I haven't heard Arweave for fucking ages. I'll have a peep at it for you. Ugh. See if there's a bit better. I mean, it just looks fucking dead, doesn't it? To Water's point, this is like an investor's chart. Yeah, if you want to invest in something like this, great, but why is it going to come back? Just bought a bag of Binance though when they released it around 0.0354. Quite sexy, man. Hold a bag of aerodrome from the sweep of the June 24 lows. Like these projects. Yeah, that's fair, mate. Like, if you like the projects, then that's one of the best, you know, reasons to invest, is that you have a fundamental reason to hold the bag, and you understand why they need a token, and you understand what their value prop is. Yeah, EMA trends are fucking insane for crypto, because crypto is a highly trending asset class. So as soon as you get a good trending system and you catch, you know, a good set of rotations, then that's kind of all you need. You know, you look at Bitcoin, and you look at like the weekly, and you go macro trend scanner, you'd have bought down here somewhere at 22k, and you'd still be holding. It's pretty wild. Oh no. Oh, it's over, boys and girls and theys. Yeah, I think we kind of covered it. I think I've got like stuff like Pepe on my watch list, but to be honest, it's a bit rubbish. SPX, it's just fucking dying off, but I think we're getting to like a real inflection point down here. You know, I'm hoping we see some strength in the market in general, and that like this breaks to the upside. Fartcoin we went over earlier. This trade's pretty simple. BCH. I'm not actually in either of these. It was just a good example of things. Pump is a little bit late to this rotation, but it should stay quite high on the radar, especially if our Sol thesis comes true. Bonk had a really interesting day yesterday when there was like rumors of WLFI partnerships, etc. But really, it's not interesting until 0.24. So I've got alerts set there. I'm just patiently waiting. Litecoin, the plan was to, like, I sold it all here, and the plan was to buy on a reclaim, but that hasn't really happened. So I'll be looking at like this 100 level. Trump, I think we went through that at the start of the stream. We're looking for the breakout. We're looking for a little bit of strength around that 8.73 area. And ETC is just always high up on my watch list when ETH is like in play, but really it's not particularly strong at the moment. So I'm going to leave it there, but it's really like a meh like coin to look at. And that's really it from me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You know, short, sharp stream, I think, today. I think that's pretty good for the first stream back for, you know, the week, month? I don't know. We will, what we'll do is we'll come back on Tuesday, our normal time, and we will jump into some shitcoins, and we will do a little bit more on that front. I appreciate anyone who has signed up to telemetry using my link. Because if you are trading on-chain Sol stuff, then yeah, please use it. You will be collecting points, you will be helping me, and it costs you nothing extra. You get access to this wonderful suite of tools in front of you that we have talked about relentlessly. You too can be a, come on, let's finish the stream in profit. Come on, surely this can flip green. You can be an expert on-chain gambler, but no, genuinely, the suite of tools is absolutely incredible. The accumulation of points for things that you're purchasing or would purchase anyway, you might as well do it if they do an airdrop, which I'm not saying they're going to, but if they do, I'm not sure what else the points would mean. Points mean prizes, surely. Then you'll be pretty early to it because there's not huge amounts of users compared to other competitors, I believe. So it's well worth doing, especially if you're just like, I want to buy some BERT, then do it using telemetry and kill two birds with one stone. But yes, apart from that, I will love you and leave you. I've given lots of trade setups today. Hopefully some of them manifest because they've all pretty much been like bullish ones. And I think Sol is probably the only one that if you really wanted to take aggressively, it's starting to look a bit savage if you get that like change in market structure up here. That would be like the confirmation, but yeah, it's quite an aggressive trade. So I will see you on Tuesday, back to normal stream.